how does this relate to not only chronic back pain? We talked a little bit about this. How does it relate to other things in a human being's life?
Well, basically this is a stress management model. So there's 3 ways that we deal with stress. And correct me if I'm wrong, the only 3 ways I'm aware, I've asked people this question a lot, but basically the way we deal with stress, we either suffer, we experience it, we feel badly, but all of us know how to suffer. We know how to suffer well. And we sort of put up with things and we sort of deal with it and move forward. The second thing, which I think is more common, we tend to suppress. And I can only speak for myself in that I think the main tool that surgeons use to deal with stress is suppression. So the adversity we deal with on a given day is ridiculous. I just put in 3 16-hour days this week, and that seems sort of normal to me. And it sounds like a lot, but I have many, many colleagues that do the same thing. So we have lots of adversity, we sort of put our heads down and we move forward, but we're used to suppressing. And the third thing that we do is we mask. We find things to distract us, we find new relationships, new jobs, whatever it is to distract us. And that actually works reasonably well. However, if you think of mental health in terms of neurologic circuits, as opposed to, quote, psychology, the suffering and suppressing is a big problem. I actually have my patients read another book right now called The Talent Code by Dan Coyle. And he's a journalist that's done a brilliant job looking at how people learn. And he looked at genius, and he went back 500 years, clear to the Italian Renaissance, about what factors create genius. And so he found 3 issues. One was deep learning, repetition, or he calls it ignition, and the third thing is master coaching. The basic premise is that you basically the deep learning is that you learn a pathway very, very carefully, and as you learn the movements carefully, you're developing a neurologic pathway that with repetition becomes very, very strong. So you can actually increase your learning by 400 to 600% using these techniques. Repetition of superficial learning actually doesn't work. It actually causes learning to go down by 20%. So what he did in this book that's so brilliant is that he linked it to the last 5 years of neuroscience research, which finds out if you do this deep repetition that the brain lays down myelin. And myelin is a substance that's like the insulation around a wire. And the thicker the insulation, in other words, the more repetitions, the faster the conduction. So once you lay down a neurologic pathway very, very carefully, it becomes very myelinated and very, very thick.